Shalom, shalom. Shalom, give me 1 second. Shalom, shalom. Hey, shalom to the brother, Yawanathan. Shalom, Malak, Brakatham to you and your household, beloved. Shalom. Okay. Shalom. It's not popping up. Bear me 1 second. All right. I'm going to face the east. Okay. And I'm going to give all praises and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Raha, Wadash. Honors be to the elect elders of the nation of Israel that do labor and teach the truth with all truth and in sincerity. Shalom to you, Akim, you hope for elect on the highway and hedges, making your body a living sacrifice, according to Romans 12 and verse 1. Shalom to you, sincere believers, which consist of men and women. Shalom, Brakatham, and as always, Abad, Babal, and DTA. All right, death to America. All right, back on the highways and hedges to prophesy the downfall of Babylon the Great, aka America, also known as Nineveh. All right, and also the revival of the Roman Empire. Okay, in Assyria, Egypt, this place right here, which is prophesied to be destroyed by the way of nuclear missiles. Okay, that we shot off from Russia, okay, China, and other countries that have nuclear capabilities. So if I get started in just 1 second, and bear with me. Okay. Bear me 1 second. All right. Matter of fact, let's start in the book of Hebrews chapter 4. All right, because ultimately I was thinking about a few things coming on the highways and hedges, right? About ultimately, how do you expect to enter that rest of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, and you ultimately have what, leaven, okay, unbelief that's still dealing with you. All right, because ultimately you got to be all the way in, okay, not, not 1 foot in, not a toe in. You got to be all the way in, all right, and being in the body of Yahweh Yahushai. Okay, so let's start the book of Hebrews chapter 4. And I'm gonna start at verse 1. I'm get this pulled up here as well. May grab it in the NLT. So like it. Right? So this book of Hebrews chapter 4 and verse 1. And in my sword, it says, labor to enter out of one Yahweh's rest. So once again, seeing brothers on the highway and hedges, all right, all different times, brothers, in different regions, so the time, may be different, but brothers are doing what? Laboring. So Hebrews 4 and verse 1, let us therefore fear, lest a promise being left us of entering into his rest, any of you should seem to come short of it. All right, and ultimately, as we continue to read, right, this rest is going to what? Pretty much the kingdom of heaven. All right, those new bodies being beamed up in the chariots. All right, because right now, this is why, we sacrifice a lot, because ultimately there's a great reward for the ones that had belief. Let us therefore fear, lest a promise being left us of entering to his rest, any of you should seem to come short of it. You want to do what? Continue to endure. Let's read in the NLT. Out of one Yahweh's promise of entering his rest still stands. All right, it still stands. Okay, ultimately, why? Because the Most High has not changed. They may say that Israel has been done away with, speaking about, the other heathen nations, all right, and 2/3 of our own people, but that promise, all right, to Israel, to the elect, it still stands. I don't want Yahweh's promise of entering his rest still stands, so we ought to tremble with fear that some of you might fail to experience it. All right, tremble with fear. Okay, because why? This it says in the book of 1 Peter, I'll grab it real quick. Bear me 1 second. 1 Peter chapter 4. I'm gonna go straight to the point. In verse 17, For the time is come that judgment must begin at the house of outer one Yahweh. All right, so judgment must begin at the house of outer one Yahweh. So he's talking about who Israel, all right, and especially them in part of the circumcision. And if it first begin at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel? They're not going to be found. All right, because the hour of temptation is coming to try all men. All right, which is ultimately going to what? You know, the charagma. All right, you got to be careful how you say it, because Esau Edom get in his feelings. Hey, shalom to the brother Eno, shalom malak, brakathum to you in the household, king. Oh, I'm bear me 1 second. I quoted it, so I'm going to grab it. Let's go to the book of, should be Revelation. So like, should be book of Revelation, chapter 3. Woo. So, matter of fact, I'm gonna start at verse 8, but verse 10 is the point, right? It says, I know thy works. So like it, verse 3 and verse 8, I know thy works. Behold, I have set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it. Right? Speaking about what is knowledge. And Yahweh Shai is the door. Right? Yahweh Shai is the one that gives the increase. Yahweh Shai is the one that gives, you know, that gives the Holy Spirit. Okay? And why is that? Because ultimately, I gotta grab it. Matthew 28 and verse 18, real swift. And Yahweh Shai came and spoke unto them, saying, all power is given unto me in heaven and in earth. So Yahweh Shai, he's the one that gives, you know, the Holy Spirit, the understanding, the discernment. So Revelation 3 and verse 8, I know thy works, behold, I've set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it, for thou hast a little strength, and has kept my word, and has not denied my name. That's speaking about the elect. Only the elect has kept the word. Only the elect has stood so stiffly for the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right. When you go to the book of Second Hedges 2 and verse 47, you know, it said that who are these? They that have stood so stiffly for the name. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews. Now, in context, we use this today, speaking about, you know, the Ish peoples, right? You know, Esau Edom that claims to be, you know, the Jews, but ultimately, this right here is speaking about, you know, our people, okay? Them that are pretty much pretending, right? That, you know, that they care about the flock. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. And quick example is that you got many camps of today that know they are Israel, but are ultimately not teaching you the names, not teaching you the correct doctrine according to the precepts. All right. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee, because thou hast kept the word of my patience. I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world, to try them that dwell upon the earth. And this is coming to try all men. All right, all men, women, no matter if you're rich or poor, as it says in the book of Revelation 13, speaking about the charagma. Okay. And shalom to the brother Kabash Shana, shalom, brakathum to you and your household, king, shalom, beloved. All right. It said, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. Okay, so them that pretty much stood so stiffly, stood steadfast and firm. Because once again, as I started off with, how do you expect to enter into that rest and you got, you know, not, you know, faith, right? Like I was saying, you may have still, you know, like straddle the fence, they just say, right? 1 foot in and 1 foot out. You got to be all the way in. Which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. No man take thy crown. No, you know, no matter who it is. Once you come into this knowledge of who you are, being revived, being restored back to knowing that you are an Israelite to one of your respected tribes, you got a duty, right? And that duty is to, you know, as it says in the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 12, you know, to keep the commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. All right. So you grow up in this truth, and then eventually you go out there and start teaching. Now that may not be some brothers' lots, right? Some, you know, some may be helps or whatever, but still you got a duty. Okay. So Let's go back to the book of Hebrews chapter 4. Hebrews chapter 4, and I'm going to start verse 2 now. Come on, comment board. Give me 1 second. Hey, shalom to the elder, Sagalah, shalom elder, shalom, brakatham to you and your household, beloved, shalom, shalom. All right, so this is the book of Hebrews chapter 4 and verse 2. For unto us was the gospel preached it, as well as unto them, right? But the word preached it did not profit them. Okay, it did not profit who? Them that did not have the belief, them that did not have faith, should I say. All right, because ultimately having this faith, you have to be what? It has to be ingrained inside of you. Okay? Real quick, let me grab this in the book of Sirach. The book of Sirach, chapter 1. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 1, in verse 14. How's it going? Sirach 1 and verse 14. To fear the outer one, Yahweh, is the beginning of wisdom, and it was created with the faithful in the womb. All right. So once again, this faith, all right, has to be pretty much ingrained in you, and that's only given to who? The elect, the Israel of the Most High, in Galatians 6 and 16, that Christians love to try to use and twist. All right, but it's speaking about the elect. For unto us, Hebrews 4 and 2, for unto us was the gospel preached it, as well as unto them. All right, because ultimately this word has went out all over, right? It's like the book of Psalms 19, okay? You can liken that to what the internet scripture, all right? So there's no excuse. You know, they have heard it, sign language, different languages, right? But ultimately, if you weren't chosen to believe, then it's not going to do you any profit, right? But the word preached did not profit them, not being mixed with faith in them that heard it, all right? Because you got to have what? Faith. Let me grab this. Bear me 1 second. Hey, Shalak Rayam to you, Esau Edom. That's my scared of your bitch ass, man. Fucking cracker. I might run for none of these dudes, man. And Salaki brothers. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, bear me 1 second, Akim. This guy come back around, man, to cut the camera off and get busy. So bear me 1 second. All right. Hold on, where was I at? I'm gonna grab this precept from the elder. Lost my train. And Salaki. Bear me 1 second. Yeah, man, being a damn devil, bitch ass nigga. Nobody worrying about Salakia. Anyways, Romans 10 and verse 17. So then faith cometh by hearing. Beautiful. So then faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of outer one Yahweh. All right. And the only ones that's gonna be able to hear it will be the sheep, will be the flock of the Most High. All right. And they always was, with Yahweh Shai, you can receive it. Okay. Always. But I say I have not heard. Read this again. So then faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of outer one Yahweh. But I say have they not heard? That's a question that's been asked. Yes, verily, their sound went into all the earth. Once again, as I quoted it in the book of Psalms 19. All right. Pretty much, you may hear that's like into what the internet scripture. Once again, this word has went all around, man. You got brothers all over. Australia, UK, so on, so on. All right, in different regions, right? The Cali brothers, right? The East Coast brothers, down south, so on, so on. In different time zones, so, constantly videos is going out. They not heard, yes, verily their sound went to all the earth, and their words unto the ends of the world. And once again, I just said, like Australia. So Australia is at the end of the earth, so this word is everywhere, man. So ultimately, when Yahweh Shai, so when Yahweh sends Yahweh Shai, all right, to come do damage, there's no excuse. All right, you was warned, but you didn't take heed. And their word to the ends of the earth. and to the ends of the world. Nadar Shatan. Khan. Nadar Shatan. Khan. All right? And let me grab this. Let's go to the book of, let's say, have they not heard? Real quick, let's go to the book of John, chapter 10. See if I can find that. Grab that real quick. I'm just going to start John 10 and verse 1, get back to Hebrews 4. Red lettering, Yahweh Shah speaking. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, but climb up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber. But he that entereth in by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. That door is Yahuwah, Yahweh Shah. All right? To him the potter open, and the sheep hear his voice. All right? And that sheep is a flock, right? The elect, the ones that was preordained to, the ones that preordained to stand fast. All right, to stand firm, to be steadfast, firm in the name of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. And he called his own sheep by name and leaded them out. All right, and first and foremost, being led out, it starts off with the mind first. All right, freeing yourselves from the shackles of mental bondage. All right, things that you have learned in Babylon the Great, aka America. And then eventually, you endure to the end, Lord's will, we be the ones that be beamed up in those chariots. Hey, 444. That's mercy right there on that person tag. That's beautiful. And when he put it forth his own sheep, he go before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. Right? As it says in the book of Revelation 14, I can grab it. It says that the lamb follow him, so like that the sheep followed the lamb wheresoever he went. Right? Follow the lamb whatsoever he went. See about who the elect, okay? Follow Yahweh Shah, keeping the ways of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. All right, I'm gonna grab it here and make it a little easier. From the Elder Sagalah, Psalms 89. Psalms 89 and verse 15. Blessed is the people that know the joyful sound. Beautiful. They walk, O Yahweh, in the light of thy countenance. All right, that's speaking about who? Let's pass by. All right, the elect. Okay, them that can understand the joyful sound. All right, saying the correct song. Read this. Revelation 14, back that up. Revelation 14 and verse 3 is a point, but I'll start at verse 1. And I looked at, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion. All right, that lamb is who's Yahweh Shai. And with him 144,000 having his father's name written in their foreheads. And this is what a spiritual mark. All right. And I heard a voice from heaven as a voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps. And they sung as it were a new song before the throne. All right, so ultimately this is who the elect, saying the correct doctrine according to the precepts, teaching the correct names. All right, and when you saying this song, okay, ultimately, all the believers, right, the hopeful elect is saying what this song in different regions, in different parts, but it's pretty much saying the same thing. And they sung as it were a new song before the throne. All right, and that throne is speaking about what the heavens. Because the Most High said that what, matter of fact, I gotta go ahead and grab it. I don't want to butcher it. Bear with me 1 second. Where's that at? Salakia, bear with me 1 second. Yep, Isaiah 66 and verse 1. Thus said the Yahweh, the heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. Where is the house that you build unto me, and where is the place of my rest? All right, so that throne is speaking about what the heavens. Okay, because every time we make a prayer, every time we do the works of Yahweh Shai, the angels do what? Reports it back to the Most High. And they sung as it were a new song before the throne and before the four beasts and the elders. And no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. All right, and no man can learn that song. No man can ultimately go through these scriptures unless the Most High had gave you what the eye saw. All right, to be able to see, to give you that had gave you what the Holy Spirit. All right. Now a couple of days ago, me and the elder Sagalah, was out there, early in the morning, right, getting something to eat, and we saw this Moabite, sitting at the dinner table looking all confused. He was scratching his forehead, he looking lost as hell. Brought the Bible in there for whatever, right? But ultimately you could see that he didn't know what's going on, all right? But ultimately he can't see it, can't understand that song. Why? Because one thing, he's a damn Moabite, he's a heathen, and secondly, the Most High not giving what the Holy Spirit, okay? And the Holy Spirit not given to all Israel either, only to once again the 144,000. These are they which were not defiled with women. That's women going to what philosophies. For they are virgins, being what pure, from dealing with the ways of this world, the religions. For these are they which follow the Lamb, whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto Adonai Yahweh and to the Lamb. All right, the first fruits is pretty much what once again the elect, 144,000, the house of David. Yep. Yep. It said the music is playing on a repeat, but to most people it's just whatever. But to the faithful elect is the most beautiful music. Absolutely. They ever heard, it's a fine line between believing and non-believers. That's beautiful. And that's absolutely right. All right. Because once the hopeful elect hears it, it joys you. All right, it makes you rejoice. It put a smile on your face, okay? But to the ones that ultimately don't have that belief, that don't have that faith, it makes them feel uneasy, all right? Because ultimately, they love this world. See, yep, a bugged out goop. Yeah, Khan. Sitting at the dinner table, scratching his forehead and all that, you know what I'm saying? It was funny as hell. He was trying to make conversation, right? We really didn't care. He trying to make conversation, but it was wild. It was a funny, damn, what I'm saying. Moab, man. Moab gonna be a good servant of the king, I'll tell you that. All right. So back to the book of Hebrews 4. All right, going to a little bit more of the unbelief. Hebrews 4 and verse 3. For we which have believed do enter into rest, as he said, as I have sworn in my wrath, and they shall enter into my rest, although the works were finished from the foundation of the world. I'm reading NLT. Enter into that rest. All right. Right now, what being comforted. Okay. Because ultimately, the believers, we have hope. All right. We are comforted. Now we understand exactly why we in this predicament. Hebrews 4, and let me read it. Verse 4. It's like it. Hebrews 4 and verse 3 in the NLT. For only we who believe can enter his rest. All right, the believers. And as for others, Adonai Yahweh said, in my anger I took an oath, they would never enter my place of rest. Even though this rest has been ready since he made the world. All right, so he's speaking about what the kingdom. You go to the book of Isaiah 4, verse 10, declare the end at the beginning. All right, it was always promised that there would be a particular people that would be ruling forever. All right, but the non-believers would not see so. Verse 4, for he spake in a certain place of the seventh day on this wise, and Adonai Yahweh did rest the seventh day from all his works. And in this place again, if they shall enter into my rest. So we start at the top of that, all right, as he rests on that seventh day. All right, the believers right now, the hopeful elect is doing the same thing, laboring, all right, to enter that rest. Because in the kingdom of heaven, we're not going to be working, man. All right, we're not going to be laboring. Okay, it goes as far as much as say that we're not even going to teach our neighbor. All right, because right now we still teaching, and that shows you that we are not in the new covenant. Okay, the fact that the fact that we start here teaching. All right, so so once we get beamed up in no church, Lord will, all right, that'll be it. Okay. Bear with me 1 second. Grab this. Bear with me 1 second. All right. So I can bear with me 1 second. It's all good. It's not meant to come out. All right, I'm gonna grab this. Grab some comment board. It passed. I couldn't even find it. So. Yep. Hey, shalom to the big bro. Ariel, hey, shalom, Malak. Brakatham to you and your household, Malak. Shalom, beloved. Shalom, shalom. From the elder, Deuteronomy 23 and verse 3. An Ammonite, an Ammonite or Moabite shall not enter into the congregation of the Yahweh, even to their 10th generation shall they not enter into the congregation of the Yahweh forever. All right. So no matter what, so ultimately they would never be able to come in. All right. Just going back ultimately to what I was saying. Okay, a couple days ago when me and the elder was out there eating, we saw this Moabite trying to read scripture and just looking all confounded and looking, just he was struggling. All right. Yeah. So ultimately, the Most High not dealing with them, man. Okay. You're not dealing with no heathen. No heathen can, no heathen can enter into this. An Ammonite or Moabite shall not enter into the congregation of the Yahweh, into a 10th generation, they would never enter in. Shall they not enter into the congregation of the Yahweh forever? All right, and that's forever, man. Hell, like you got 2/3 of our own people that can't get it, and the fact that you got these other nations saying that, well, I believe, but what if I believe? Well, that's not about if you believe. All right, even I gotta grab it. Let me see. I want to butcher. Bear me 1 second. Is that Numbers 23? All right, where even Balaam himself said he wanted to be born. Even Balaam, although the Most High used him, right, who was a Moabite, even he was not going to receive what the promises. I'm gonna get back to it. Bear me 1 second. Just to fall back off of that, Balaam. Bear me 1 second. Let mine glance. See if I can grab that. Yep. It's the book of Numbers 23 and verse 10. All right, now we read this story. All right, ultimately it goes into what, Balak. All right, got Balaam to try to curse, to try to curse the nation of Israel. All right, and these are what Moabites. Now let me read this in Numbers 23 and verse 10. All right, just to show you that no heathen shall never enter into the rest. All right, as the elder put up in the book of Deuteronomy 23 and 3, speaking about, Moab or Ammon, all right, never entering in. So let's start at Numbers 23. No, number 23 and start verse 8. But verse 10 is the point. How shall I curse whom Adonai Yahweh have not cursed? Or how shall I defy whom the Yahweh have not defied? For from the top of the rocks I see him, and from the hills, behold him. Lo, the people shall dwell alone, and shall not be reckoned among the nations. Verse 10, who can count the dust of Jacob and the number of the forepart of Israel? Right? He said, let me die the death of the righteous, and let my last end be like his. All right. So even Balaam saw that there was no hope for him. Right? Even though the Most High was using him. Okay. But still the covenants, the promises, still the covenant and the promises does not belong to you. Okay. So even Balaam himself, understood it that, even though the Most High got me, doing my little part, I'm still a heathen. I'm still going to be in servitude. So once again, who can count the dust of Jacob and the number of the forepart of Israel? Let me die the death of the righteous. And the righteous is the righteous nation, which is the whole nation of Israel. And let my last end be like his. All right? Because once again, it's speaking about what the promises that's given to the nation of Israel, right? That was given, start Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, right? to be the top people. See what we got here. Hey, Shalom to Shapar Atazawam. Shalom Malak Brakathum to you and your household, King Shalom. All right, let's go back to the book of Hebrews 4, start verse 5. So there's no hope for any of these people. So this book of Hebrews 4 and verse 5, and in this place again, and they shall enter into my rest. Once again, speaking about what the promises, all right, being in the kingdom, being beamed up. So, you know, doing all what you can do now to receive that great reward that is sure to come. Seeing therefore it remaineth that some must enter therein, and they to whom it was first preached it enter not in because of unbelief. Okay. And then as we continue to read down, it, you know, Apostle Paul, you know, gave a quick recap, all right, about ancestors of old, all right, you know, that wandered in the woods for 40 years and didn't go to the land of Jerusalem, all right, but the offspring of them did, right? One, because of unbelief. Seeing therefore it remained that some must enter therein, and to whom it was first preached it enter not in because of unbelief. Again, he limited a certain day, saying, David, today, after so long a time, as it is said, today, if you will hear his voice, harden not your hearts. For if right here is Joshua, but Joshua had given them rest, then will he not after have spoken of another day? Therefore remained therefore a rest to the people of Adonai Yahweh. And that's speaking about who? That's speaking about the elect. All right, there's a rest that's getting ready to come. For he that is entered into his rest, he also have ceased from his own works, as did Adonai Yahweh from his. Let us labor therefore to enter into that rest, lest any man fall after the same example of unbelief. These are the ones that heard this word, all right, and ultimately fall about what? The wayside, okay? Because ultimately, as it says in the book of Hebrews 4, when we start up, I'm gonna grab it real quick to put it in context. They didn't have what? That faith. So Hebrews 4 and verse 2 again, for unto us was the gospel preached it, as well as unto them, but the word preached did not profit them, not being mixed with faith in them that heard it. All right, so let's drop this real quick. Let's go to the book of Matthew chapter 13. Bear with me 1 second. Yep, let's read a little bit of, so this book of Matthew chapter 13, start verse 3. And he spake many things unto them in parables, saying, behold, a sower went forth to sow. And when he sowed, some seeds fell by the wayside, and the fowls came and devoured them up. Some fell upon stony places where they had not much earth, and forthwith they sprung up because they had no deepness of earth. You wasn't rooted in Yahweh where Yahweh shot. Okay, let me grab that real swift. Yep, it's the book of Colossians. You have to be rooted in Yahweh, Yahweh shot.
Doing good too, boss man.
Hey, I appreciate you, brother. Hey, do you see yourself on that sign a lot? Okay? What's that? Well, you know, the whole nation of Israel, we are the tail right now. So ultimately, you know, we all look down upon, but what's your father? I'll put it that way. So like, what's your pops real quick?
I gotta go right now.
Oh, okay.
I'll be right back.
All right. All right. That's Jake, man. Anyways, Colossians 2 and verse 7. All right, because ultimately, I'm gonna read this once again. And he spake many things unto them in parables, saying, behold, a sower went forth to sow. And when he sowed, some seeds fell by the wayside, and the fowls came and devoured them up. All right, and once again, what happened? There was what wasn't rooted. So this is Colossians. All right, not being rooted, not having that faith. Okay, time something pops off, you running, you ducking, right? Hey, to say it like the brother Arya, you know, about that action, right? Ultimately saying that what, hey, we about the Father's business, man. Okay, standing firm. So Colossians 2 and verse 5, for though I be absent in the flesh, yet yet am I with you in the spirit, joying and beholding your order in the steadfastness of your faith in Hamashiach. And being steadfast is talking about what? Being firm. As we continue to read, being what? Rooted. All right? As you have therefore received Hamashiach Yahushua, the other one, so walk you in him. Okay? Rooted and built up in him, established in the faith. Rooted and built up in him, established in the faith. All right? You are rooted upon what? That sure rock. You know, chief cornerstone. Psalms 18 and verse 2. Rooted, built up in him, established in the faith, as you have been taught, abounding therein with thanksgiving. I'll read NLT. Let your roots grow down into him, and let your lives be built on him. Okay, because when you trust in Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, you're not going to be confounded. That's why the Christians, every time they try to come up and try to do whatever they do, all right, they always get cut, always get confounded. All right, because ultimately, you know, the things that they are saying is false. All right, and you know, it's like building something upon sand. It's not going to stand. Let your roots grow down into him, and let your lives be built on him. Then your faith will grow strong in the truth you were taught, and you will overflow with thankfulness. Okay? So back to the book of Matthew chapter 13 and verse 5. Some fell upon stony places where they had not much earth, and for a whip they sprung up, because they had no deepness of earth. As I just read in the book Colossians 2 and 7, not being rooted. All right, so ultimately you have to be rooted in Yahweh Yahushua. You know, trying to trust in the names of JC, Allah, different gods that, you know, that Jake love to call upon. That's nothing. Okay. You know, those are what? Falsehoods. Continuing on, and when the sun was up, they were scorched it, and because they had no root, they withered away. Once again, we understand that root is speaking about who Yahushua. And some fell among thorns, and the thorns sprung up and choked at them. But others fell into good ground and brought forth fruit, some in 100-fold, some 60-fold, some 30-fold. All right, that meaning what? When you go out here and you teach, right? You grow in the sincere milk of the word, and you become a teacher yourself. Let me grab that in the book of 2 Timothy, should be 4. All right, so that fruit meaning what? Other believers. So when we out here, we are what? To be fishers of men. This is why you supposed to, like, this is why you must come on a highway in Hedges. Okay? Because, you know, we still what? Fishers of men, man. So real quick, let me grab that. Then I'm gonna get it. If I can find it. Let's see. Should be Salakia. Yep. Matthew chapter 4 verse 18. Verse 19 is the point. And Yahushua, walking by the Sea of Galilee, saw two brethren, Simeon called Peter, and Andrew his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishers. And he said unto them, follow me. Yahushua speaking. Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. All right? Fishers of men. So, you know, just lay back off of that. Speaking about what? That fruit. Okay? Go out here, you teach. And whoever have ears to hear, you know, they'll hear it. You know, at that Jake that just passed by, he said, hey, you know, you're doing good work, brother. But ultimately, you know, he didn't want to hear, you know, too much of that, right? But it shows you our people, though. So let me grab this. Then get back to it. Bear with me 1 second. Second Timothy chapter 4. So like, bear me 1 second. 2 Timothy. No, so like 2 Timothy chapter 2. 2 Timothy chapter 2 in verse 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 1. Thou therefore, my son, be strong in the grace that is in Hamashiach, and the things that thou hast heard of me among many witnesses. The same commit thou to faithful men, who shall be able to teach others also. Think about what that other fruit, other believers. All right, you be taught, grow sincere milk of the word, and that goes into what the increase. Okay. Matthew chapter 13, in verse 8. But other fell into good ground and brought forth fruit, some in 100-fold, some 60-fold, some 30-fold. Who have ears to hear, let him hear. And the disciples came and said unto him, Why speakest thou unto them in parables? He answered and said unto them, Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. All right, as I just brought out a little bit earlier in book of Revelation 14, okay, only the elect, 144,000, was able to learn this new song. All right, was able to sing the song. Okay, not everyone can be able to understand this. Right? Only the ones that the Most High has already preordained. Okay, them that was set up to be a prophet. As the Most High told Daniel, right? Stand, in the latter days, you stand in your lot, loosely paraphrasing. Okay. Amos chapter 3 and verse 7. Surely the Adonai Yahweh will do nothing, but he revealed his secret unto his servants, the prophets. Okay, so if you out here on the highways and the hedges doing your part, all right, ultimately you would have had to done it in your previous life again and again and again. Okay. Surely the Adonai Yahweh will do nothing, but reveal his secret unto his servants, the prophets. Okay, so that's pretty much the point there. Pretty much take a step down. He answered and said unto them, Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. For whosoever have to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But whosoever have not, from him shall be taken away even that he hath. Yep. Therefore speak I to them in parables, because they seeing, see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. All right, that's speaking about who, the ones, as I was going into in the book of Hebrews 4, the ones that that don't have the faith, the unbelievers. Okay. Let's see what else I can get. Yep. So back to the book of Hebrews 4, start verse 10. For he that is entered into his rest, he also have ceased from his own works, as Adonai Yahweh did from his. Let us labor, therefore, to enter into that rest. All right, and once again, as I was saying a little bit earlier, so how can anyone say that we are in the new covenant when we still out here working? There's still, work to be done. All right, still out here teaching. Because real quick, the perks of the new covenant is that we will not teach our neighbors anymore. I'm going to go ahead and grab that. So ultimately, we see that we are not, in the new covenant. Brothers still get ailments in the body. Brothers still get sick. All right. You got believers that, may have passed away. Number one, so I'm gonna grab this. Yep. It's in a couple of places. All right, so this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 31. I'm making a quick point there as far as, once again, the perks. Lord will, when we, enter into those new bodies, right, which will be the new covenant, is that we will not have to teach anymore. So this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 31, Whew. Let's start at verse. All right, because this is why we out here for, man, laboring. All right, to enter into that rest. Hey, you heard about the Hebrew Israelites? Yeah, you heard about that? Are you a believer of that, brother?
No, I believe in God. I believe in. Well, I don't believe in Jesus. I'm spiritual.
Okay.
But keep up.
Hey, but the true names of the Lord, real quick, is Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. All right. All right, brother. Safe travels, brother. Hey, thank you, brother. I'll pray to the Most High, man. Call it Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. You know, so real quick, there's a Jake, trying to stun a little bit. Had a little benzo, right? Had a little benzo talking about what I'm doing, whatever, right? Talking about the Hebrew Israelites, and he said, well, I don't believe in that, and he's not a believer. I believe he's pretty much a atheist, right? Nah, he's something like he don't believe in no God or something like that. So he's spiritual. All right, Jake. So this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 30, and verse 31. Behold, the days come, said the Yahweh, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. So once again, doing the labor right now to be them on the first go around to make it, man. Okay? Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers and the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was an husband unto them, said the Yahweh. All right, and being a husband, ultimately, it's us being what joined unto Yahweh. All right, what Yahweh shot. Because Jerusalem is like to what? Commonly and delicate woman, Jeremiah 6 and verse 2. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. Well, let's pass by. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, said the Yahweh. I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and will be their power, and they shall be my people. And when that this took place, this has yet to take place. Okay, so once again, I'm gonna keep saying it. So anyone, you pretty much a damn fool to say that you are in a new covenant. Okay, when you still go off. The very, even a foolish thought in the book of Proverbs, it should be 24, is sin. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know the Yahweh. Okay, but right now we are doing just that. You know that Jake right there, he know the names of the Lord. So once again, that's that shows you that what? That we are not in the new covenant. Okay, the fact that our people don't know no true names of the Heavenly Father and the Son. Okay, but they all gonna know the Most High in the kingdom. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know the Yahweh. For they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, said the Yahweh. For I will forgive their iniquity and will remember their sin no more. Okay? And real quick, in the book of Psalms 33, right? It says that blessed is he that has sins. I'll go ahead and grab it real quick. All right, so that's that's that part of entering in that rest. Those new bodies and being pretty much programmed to not go off. Because right now we are programmed to go off. All right, because because ultimately, we are born in these bodies that are already subject. Okay? I may grab in the book of 2nd Hedges, should be 3. Psalms 32 and verse 1. Blessed is he whose transgression is forgiven, whose sin is covered. And that's the Psalm of David. It said, blessed is he whose transgression is forgiven, whose sin is covered. Blessed is the man unto whom the Yahweh imputed not iniquity. And iniquity is continual sin. All right? Sin upon sin. All right, like continual in a way of whoredom, as far as following different religions. Matter of fact, I'm going to grab it. I don't want to butcher it. It should be Hosea 4. Should be big Hosea 4. All right, because iniquity is pretty much continual sin. Hosea 4 and verse 18, their drink is sour, they have committed whoredom continually. So once again, continually doing, continuing in a way of sin, man, as far as following different religions, calling on JC, when clearly those are not the true names of the Most High. Okay, you may you may know that you are J, but you still eating pork, right, on the down low, or you still eating shrimp on the down low, so on, so on. Their drink is sour, they committed whoredom continually. Her rulers with shame do love give you. All right. Psalm 32 and verse 2. Blessed is the man to whom they Yahweh imputed not iniquity, and in whose spirit there is no guile. And in the mouth of the elect 144,000, there'll be what? No guile, no deceit. You know, gave you the truth, as brothers may say, you know, with no chaser, right? She gave you, you know, the straight, you know, she gave you straight truth, man. Okay, so I'm gonna drop this. I'm gonna get the second edge 3. Bear me 1 second, grab some water. All right, because I'm making a point as far as saying that right now we are pretty much programmed, you know, to go off. Okay, but when we enter into that rest, and right now, as you know, as I just brought out Hebrews 4 and verse 10, you know, we laboring, okay, to receive that great reward. So let me grab this in the book of 2nd Ezra, should be chapter 3. Yep. We start at verse 1, right? Number 1, 7, grab in the GNT as well. Yep. So I'm going to grab this. So book of 2nd Ezra chapter 3, start verse 1, read on down. And it reads, in the 30th year after the ruin of the city, I was in Babylon and laid trouble upon my bed, and my thoughts came upon over me. Now in context, they're speaking about ancient Babylon, you know, that Israel served, well, the southern kingdom served like 70 years, right? So Ezra, then you had Nehemiah, and they was in the process of, you know, the rebuilding of the temple. Okay, but this applies today as well. Because scripture written aforetime was written for our learning. Because there's a lot of, you know, things, prophecies that has yet to be fulfilled. Okay. In the 30th year after the ruin of the city, I was in Babylon and laid trouble upon my bed, and my thoughts came upon over my heart. For I saw the desolation of Zion and the wealth of them that dwell at Babylon. And my spirit was sore moved, so that I began to speak words full of fear to the Most High, and said, O Yahweh, who bears rule, thou spakest at the beginning, when thou didst plant the earth, and that thyself alone, and commandest the people, and gavest a body unto Adam without soul, which was the workmanship of thine hands, and didst breathe into him the breath of life, and he was made living before thee. Now, when it says without soul, ultimately speaking about what? You know, the commandments. Okay, because the commandments, you know, the laws, the ordinance, that's what pretty much make you alive. Okay, when you go to you know, the story of the chapter of Ezekiel 37, right, where it says, "Can you dry bones live?" And then Ezekiel said, you know, "Thou knowest truly the Most High," right? That, you know, that's speaking about what the dry bones going to the fact that we was without the Most High, not knowing who we were. Okay. Not knowing our heritage, not knowing the true names, okay, for 350 years on this side of North America. Okay, but from 1969, from Elder Bivens onto now, we see how the truth has been, you know, flourishing. Now we stand upon our feet. Now we are alive, being revived, being restored back. and gave a body unto Adam without soul, which was the workmanship of thine hands, and didst breathe unto him the breath of life, and he was made living before thee. Okay, because Adam, when you go to the history of that in Ezekiel 31, okay, Adam was pretty much a king, all right? Or you can even call him like a high priest. Matter of fact, I'll go ahead and grab it. I don't want to butcher it. Let's grab a few. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel 31. I'm going to start at verse 1 because Adam, cause it goes into the Assyrian, but it's speaking about who Adam, all right, who was a king, a high priest. Ezekiel 31 should be, see where I'm at. Yep. And it came to pass, then I'm reading a little bit more in the book of 2 Ezra 3. Ezekiel 31, start verse 1. And it came to pass in the 11th year, in the 3rd month, in the 1st day of the month, that the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, speak unto Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and to his multitude, whom thou art like in thy greatness. Behold, the Assyrian was a cedar and Lebanon. All right, now this Assyrian, now this speaking about who Adam. Because we go to an Assyrian, what were the Assyrians known for? For ruling. Okay, although they had, you know, the northern kingdom in subjection, but ultimately Assyrian, this ultimately means a ruler, right? Behold, the Assyrian was a cedar in Lebanon with fair branches, and with a shadowing shroud, and of a high stature, and his top was among the thick boughs. Now, of a high stature, meaning what? He's very prominent. Okay? Hey, shalom to the brother Yahweh, shalom malak brakatham to you and your household. Okay, so he was the top. Okay, out of all the sons of God, he was the number one. The same as Solomon, right? And Adam, if you can receive, is Yahweh Shah. The waters made him great. The deep set him up on high with her rivers, running round about his plants, and sent out her little rivers into all the trees of the field. Now these waters and rivers go into what is wisdom and knowledge. Okay? What's that? John 7:38, and also in John 4. Okay? Therefore his height was exalted above all the trees of the field, and his boughs were multiplied, and his branches became long because of the multitude of waters when he shot forth. All right, so ultimately he was the top. Okay, he was the king. He was the most prominent. All right, same way as Solomon. He was the most wise. All right. So back to the book of 2 Ezra 3 and verse 6. And thou leddest him into paradise, which thy right hand had planted before ever the earth came forth. And unto him thou gavest commandment to love thy way, which he transgressed, and immediately thou appointest death in him and in his generations, of whom came nations, tribes, peoples, and kindreds out of number. Read again. And unto him thou gavest commandment to love thy way, which he transgressed. And that's the same old story, you know, with Jake to this day. Only to, the sons of God, that it was called then, now known as the sons of Israel, was given the laws, statutes, and commandments, the covenants, the promises, right? The pat agreement. And when you go to the, the history of our nation, we will serve the Most High, then ultimately we'll go back to, doing, following the customs of the heathens, so on. Damn Freemason, man, it's crazy. All right? But so on. So we see how there's a pattern with our nation. All right? The same way as Adam. Okay? He was given, laws, statutes, commandments, which was oral back then, but then he transgressed. And unto him thou gavest commandment to love thy way, which he transgressed, and immediately thou appointest death in him and in his generations, of whom came nations, tribes, people, and kindreds out of number. Okay? And every people walked after their own will, and did wonderful things before thee, and despised thy commandments. All right? And that's why, as we continue to read, the flood came. Okay? Because it said that, the sons of God. Because they may see something in Galatians, Genesis 6. I'll go ahead and grab it. All right? Let's read Genesis 6. So the book of Genesis 6. And start verse 5. And out of one Yahweh saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. All right, and this speaking about who the sons of God. And it repented the Lord that he made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And Yahweh shall destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and a creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repented me that I had made them. And the same thing is going to happen now. Okay, but this way it'd be by what? By nuclear fire. So as we continue to read in 2 Hedges 3, right here in verse 9, and again in process of time, thou broughtest the flood upon those that dwelt in the world, and destroyedst them. And it came to pass in every of them that as death was to Adam, so was the flood to these. Nevertheless, one of them thou leftest, namely Noah, with his household, of whom came all righteous men. All right, because Noah was what? A man that believed. Okay, as I brought a little bit earlier in the book of Hebrews 4. All right, he was a believer, and he labored for 120 years, man. Okay, out there dealing with what, ridicule, mockery. Okay, being laughed at. You gotta keep in mind, in those days, in Noah's day, there was literally no rain, man. You know, because the earth back then was what? In perfect harmony. Okay, there was a mist that came up. So when he was out there speaking about rain, okay, that they're gonna be, come a flood. Hey, they looked at him like it was crazy, right? Same thing now, okay? Because Noah, pretty much, represents what? The elect, right? So, so when you got brothers out here, saying that they're gonna be a nuclear war to end all wars, right? Esau Edom with his, Esau Edom is gonna be in captivity, so on, that this place is gonna go up in smoke. And when you tell them that, they have a hard time believing it because they look at America's military. But American military is not even as strong, man. I think it was last year that something about the census was down. I don't have a complete number, but they were saying how the recruitment in the American military numbers is dwindling. Okay, so it's not far-fetched, and it will happen. And it came to pass. So 2 Hedges 3 and verse 10. And it came to pass in every of them that as death was to Adam, so was the flood to these. Nevertheless, one of them thou leftest, namely Noah, with his household, of whom came all righteous men. And it happened that when they that dwelt upon the earth began to multiply, and had gotten them many children, and were a great people, they began again to be more ungodly than the first. And why is that? As I was saying earlier, because ultimately the bodies has not been changed, right? The bodies have not been changed, because there was a, as it says, about the evil seed that was planted in Adam. Okay, so we was programmed. These bodies was programmed to go off. Let me grab that. Bear me 1 second. Yup. Book of 2 Hedges, chapter 4. Whew. Oh, it's all good right here. Verse 30 is the point, but I'm going to start just a tad bit. 2 Hedges 4 and verse 28. But as concerning the things whereof thou askest me, I would tell thee, for the evil is sown, but the destruction thereof is not yet come. And therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down. And if the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown with good. All right. So ultimately, for the wages of sin is what, so all this evil is going to be what, passed away. Right. For the grain of evil seed had been sown in the heart of Adam from the beginning. How much ungodliness have it brought up unto this time? And how much shall it yet bring forth until the time of threshing come? All right, that time of threshing come is ultimately when the Most High, brings destruction. All right, really, right here in America, also known as Babylon the Great, in the revival of the Roman Empire. Okay, for the grain of evil seed had been sown in the heart of Adam from the beginning, and how much ungodliness have it brought up unto this time. Okay, so ultimately we have not, received those new bodies, being what, immortal. We still have what, these mortal bodies that are subject to go off, as it says in the book of Matthew 26:41. All right, that the spirit is willing but the flesh is weak. Okay, every day is a constant battle with these mortal bodies. Let me grab that. Okay, so I'm gonna finish this up. So once again, then I'm gonna grab it. For the grain of evil seed have been sown in the heart of Adam from the beginning, and how much ungodliness have it brought up unto this time, and how much shall it yet bring forth unto the time of threshing come? Meaning what? The destruction. All right. So these bodies are what? Subject to go off. Once again, Matthew 26:41. For the spirit is willing, but what? The flesh is weak. Bear me 1 second. I'm gonna grab this in the book of Romans 7. Romans 7, let's start at verse 14. I'll start at verse 12. Wherefore the law is holy, and the commandment holy, just, and good. Was then that which good made death unto me? God forbid. But sin that it might appear sin, working death in me, by that which is good, that sin by the commandment might become exceeding sinful. For we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, sold under sin. Once again, these bodies is subject to go off, as I grabbed in the book of 2 Hedges 4 and verse 30. Okay, that grain of evil seed was already planted in Adam. Okay, so these bodies was already programmed to go off. Let me grab that in the NLT. Romans 7. Hold on, bear with me 1 second. Romans 7 and verse 13 in the NLT. But how can that be? Did the law which is good cause my death? Of course not. Sin used what was good to bring about my condemnation to death. So we can see how terrible sin really is. It uses Adonai Yahweh's good commands for its own evil purposes. So the trouble is not with the law, for it is spiritual and good. The trouble is with me, for I am all too human, a slave to sin. All right, now the NLT made it a little bit clearer. It said, well, I am all too human, right? Meaning what? Mortal. We don't have those, to use modern day terms, we don't have those Superman bodies, right? We have bodies that are subject to go off. Okay, we think foolish thoughts. I don't really, continue on NLT, I don't really understand myself. If I want to do what is right, but I don't do it. Instead, I do what I hate. But if I know that what I am doing is wrong, this shows that I agree that the law is good. Okay? Because the only way to know something is wrong, you got to have what? Laws, commandments. All right? So that's how we know, what is sin. So I am not the one doing wrong. It is sin living in me that does it. All right, once again, that grain of evil seed, all right, already programmed to go off. Okay, so that's why, we have to be changed and receive the what? Immortal bodies. So to tie it all together, so anyone that's saying that, you are in the new covenant is pretty much all the way left field, man. You're gone. And get away from a man like that. So I am not the one doing wrong. It is sin living in me that does it. All right. So it's that sin. Once again, this fleshly bodies. Okay. Read a little bit more. Book of 2 Hedges 3. Yep. 2 Hedges 3 and verse 12. And it happened that when they that dwelt upon the earth began to multiply, and had got them many children, and were a great people, they began again to be more ungodly than the first. Now when they lived so wickedly before thee, thou didst choose thee a man from among them whose name was Abraham. Now Abraham, right? Our ancestor, our father Abraham, he received the promises still being uncircumcised. Okay. So, being uncircumcised, that's like unto what? A heathen, right? The same thing as us. As I started off with, when we first hear about it, for faith coming by hearing. So when we were still doing the ways of the world, still following the custom of the other nations, okay, but ultimately we did what? We heard the word and we believed, even though we still wasn't right? How thou lovest among them whose name was Abraham. Him thou lovest, and unto him only thou shewest thy will, and madest an everlasting covenant with him, promising him that thou wouldest never forsake his seed. And that's a promise. And unto him thou gavest Isaac, and unto Isaac also thou gavest Jacob and Esau. As for Jacob, thou didst choose him to thee, and put by Esau, and so Jacob became a great multitude, because the promises went from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, but I made a point. I want to fall off of that a little bit, as far as saying Abraham, received the promises, still being what? Uncircumcised. All right, and that represents us today. Even though we was raised in all types of wayward doctrines and religions, right? We still was able to hear it and receive it. Ultimately, let's go to the book of Romans, start verse 4. And then my sword say what? Justification through faith. Go to the book of Romans 4 and verse 1. What shall we say then? That Abraham our father, as pertaining to the flesh, have found. All right, it's granted in NLT as well. Yep, continue on. For if Abraham were justified by works, he had whereof to glory, but not before out of one Yahweh. All right, because ultimately it was not a what? It was not a works. Okay? Because because we all was raised, as heathens. Abraham's father Terah was a man that was praising all types of different gods and idols. All right, he was what you'll call an idolater. For what said the scripture? Abraham believed. For what said the scripture? Abraham believed out of one Yahweh, and was counted to him for righteousness. And the same thing applies to what the believers today. Okay? So, faith comes by hearing. So, once you hear it, right, it could be by the way of the internet. You may see a brother out there on the highway in the hedges, a camp, whatever. But then you hear it, and then something sparks inside of you. And you start doing what? Believing. Although you were raised as a heathen, right? Raised as a Gentile, all types of customs, but you came out of it. Now to him that worketh it is a reward, not reckoned, found of grace, but of doubt, but of debt. I'm reading it, to make it clear. Romans 4 and verse 4, when people work, their wages are not a gift, but something they have earned. But people are counted as righteous, not because of their work, but because of their faith in out of one Yahweh, who forgives sinners. Okay, as it says, for without faith it's impossible to please the Most High. David also spoke of this when he described the happiness of those who are declared righteous without working for it. You know, so even with, you know, people may read a story of Jacob and Esau, and they may say that, but ultimately, that was already, you know, preordained to happen. Even before the children did anything good or evil, it was already set up for Jacob to receive the promises. It was already set up for Jacob to be the righteous and Esau to be what? The wicked. I'm gonna grab that real quick. Remember 1 second. Let's go to the book of Romans 9. Woo. Start Romans 9. Start verse 10. And not only this, verse 11 is the point. And not only this, but when Rebekah also had conceived by one, even by our father Isaac. For the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of Adonai Yahweh, according to election, might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. So it all falls back to what? You know, it's the will of Yahweh Yahushua. Okay? They had neither done what? Either good or evil. Right? Oh, I'm going to see it here. I can't see it here. I'm going to salute you brothers. Hey, shalom to the brother, Jacque. Hey, shalom a lot. Bark a thumb to you and your household. May peace be with you. Shalom to the beloved brother, Dawam. Shalom a lot. Bark a thumb to you and your household. Shalom malakim. All right. So back to the book of Romans 4. I'm going to skip down. Romans 4 in verse 8. Blessed is the man to whom the Yahweh will not impute sin. Verse 9. Cometh this blessedness with come the blessings then upon the circumcision only, or upon the uncircumcision also. For we say that faith was reckoned to Abraham for righteousness. All right, and we go to the history of that. You know, once again, Abraham, you know, our forefather was uncircumcised when he received the promises. So we can't, so it can't just be about all about law, when ultimately, you know, it's about faith. How's it going? Okay, it's about what? Having that faith. Verse 10, I'm reading NLT. Verse 9, now is the blessedness only for the Jews, or is it also for uncircumcised Gentiles? Okay, now back then they're speaking about what? You know, those Greeks, all right? Jake that was raised as a Greek. And during that Hellenized period, same thing now. We have been saying that Abraham was counted as righteous by Adonai Yahweh because of his faith. But how did this happen? Was he counted as righteous only after he was circumcised, or was it before he was circumcised? Clearly, Adonai Yahweh accepted Abraham before he was circumcised. Okay, why? Because of his belief. Okay, he believed. He had that faith in Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. Right? Remember 1 second, grab this. Get ready to wrap it up. All right, so this is the book of Hebrews, chapter 11. And we'll start at verse 1. Okay, and this all go back to what? Faith. So Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For by it the elders obtained a good report. Through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of Adonai Yahweh, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. By faith Abel feared unto Adonai Yahweh. Salakia. By faith Abel offered unto Adonai Yahweh a more excellent sacrifice than Cain. Cain was already programmed to be what? The wicked. Okay? That's just the will of the Most High. How's it going? By faith Abel offered unto Yahweh a more excellent sacrifice than Cain. And Cain came back as Esau. All right? If you can receive it. That wicked line, man. That wicked lineage. By which he obtained witness that he was righteous, Adonai Yahweh testifying of his gifts, and by it he being dead yet speaking it. All right, and real quick, even then, you know, although laws wasn't, you know, written down, it was oral. So Cain, he knew exactly what sacrifice the Most High wanted, right? But he still couldn't do it because he was already made crooked. You know, that which is, you know, crooked, how can it be made straight? Okay. By faith Enoch was translated that he should not see death, and was not found, because Adonai Yahweh had translated him. For before his translation he had this testimony that he pleased Adonai Yahweh. But without faith it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to Adonai Yahweh must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. All right, and them that we diligently seek him, once again, you have to be preordained. Okay, you can't make yourself a believer. And we see, as I brought out in the book of Matthew 13, them that may have been called, but ultimately had not been chosen, you know, you receive, you know, the word on stony ground, or receive it, you know, as it said, by the wayside. Okay, but you have to be what? Rooted. Okay. But without faith, it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to Adonai Yahweh must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. By faith, Noah being warned of Adonai Yahweh of things not seen as yet, moved with fear, prepared an ark to the saving of his house. And this spiritual ark is happening right now. Okay? The spiritual ark is happening right now. Noah, you know, was, you know, the elect. Okay? Not seeing yet, moved with fear, prepared an ark to the saving of his house, by the which he condemned the world and became heir of the righteousness which is by faith. All right, and then it continued to go on and on. So let me grab this, then I'm gonna close it out. Where I'm from originally,
Yeah.
I was born here, but my people, you know, in New York, so I live in New York as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been all over pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to be in DC. I'm from DC, right?
Yeah.
And when I'm from DC, I know two dudes that used to be doing this all the time.
And DC, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we know the East Coast, you know, DC and you know, New York, especially New York and Harlem. That's pretty much where it's an old school called One West.
Yeah.
So like that's where it pretty much, you know, springs from. So now it's all over now. Yeah.
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 Yeah, they was like they had a white thing over real tall, just like you.
Okay,
They were preaching
yeah.
the gospel just like you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they were cool people.
Yeah, man.
They looked out for me.
Yeah. What's your name, brother?
My name Chris.
Chris?
Yeah.
Okay, Chris. Yeah. Hey, they call me Sakar.
All right. Nice to meet you.
Hey, nice to meet you, man.
Yeah.
So you sure you'll see yourself right here, brother? What's your pops, man? You sure you don't know? Hey, but you're a Jake though. That means that, you know, you're an Israelite from one of the tribes of Israel. Now, how about this? You say your family was in DC, right?
Yeah.
So I put it like this. So where was your pops from if we went to DC? Well, where was your family from before we went to DC?
New Jersey.
New Jersey. They went from the Caribbean or something like that? Okay.
My granddad white.
Huh?
My granddad white.
On what, your granddad is white? On your mom's side or your dad's side?
My mom said.
Oh, okay. Well, it's cool. See, it goes by your father, or your pops.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, regardless of what your granddaddy is on your mom's side, that doesn't determine what tribe you're from. Right here.
Okay.
Yeah. So, matter of fact, I'm gonna grab this for you real quick.
Alan Matt Williams. That's his name. Alan Matt Williams.
on your dad's side? I mean, on your mom's side?
No, that's my dad. That's my dad.
Okay, so
That's my pops.
okay.
I was never.
So he was like a so-called black man then, pretty much, right?
Yeah, he black. He black. He was just red. You know what I'm saying? Red, black, light skin.
Light skin.
Light skin.
The big Creole, you know. Leave out because my pops, you know, my grandpa, a lot of people know this stuff. My grandpa is the one who tried to eat a battle one.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, Native American. So that's how my tribe. Yeah, so it all goes back, you know, it all goes back to whatever your pops is, you know what I'm saying? So like my grandpa on my dad's side was a so-called Native American.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. But my mom is, you know, so-called Negro.
Yeah. I be the Native American too.
On your dad's side.
My mama's side. My grandma, black and Indian. My grandma, he just say that the white man goddamn fuck the Indians.
Yeah, but it all go back to your pops. I'm gonna show you this real quick. Give me 1 second. And they assemble, Numbers 1 and 18, right? And they assemble all the congregation together on the first day of the second month. And they declare their pedigrees after their families. Now your pedigree is pretty much like a particular family. So like real quick, like my dog, I got a dog, right?
Yeah.
But the pedigree of my dog is a pit bull.
Okay.
See what I'm saying? After their families by the house of their father. So it all goes back to your father. So it would have to go back, not your mom, but your pop, the seed, sperm.
Yeah, that's where you're on there.
Yeah. According to the name. Yep. So it either be Southern Kingdom. So this is Southern Kingdom right here, and this all northern two kingdoms split after have you heard of King Solomon?
Yeah.
Yeah, so after King Solomon pretty much started following the ways of his wives and concubines and following their religion, that's what made, the kingdom split.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you definitely, Jacob, the Israelite.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful thing, because it means that you God chosen people. Right? Yeah, so although it looks like, cause I know, cause you said that you are a peasant, right?
Yeah.
But ultimately, us as a whole, we are the tail. Okay, and the top people that's ruling right now would be, so-called white man, which is known in the Bible as Esau, Edom.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you definitely, so we are the top nation. We just not ruling right now for our disobedience.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you are. So when I call you king, you are a king, brother. So you are God's chosen people. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm gonna read it to you real quick. I'm gonna prove you something right quick. I don't want to just. It's Deuteronomy 28. It's Deuteronomy 28 in verse 13, and it says, "And the Lord shall make thee the head and not the tail, and thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt not be beneath, if that thou hearken unto the commandments of the Lord thy God, which I command thee this day to observe and to do them." So if we were to keep the laws, commandments of our Lord, right, our God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, we will continually be ruled. But once we go off, now we the tail, meaning we are the, we the bottom, right?
We go off the road.
Yeah, like so we are in what the ghettos, right?
Yeah.
So-called Mexicans, or they may call it the barrios.
Yeah.
So we are at the bottom. So I'm reading this real. I'm almost finished, brother.
Mm-hmm.
"And thou shalt not go aside from any of the words which I command thee this day." We supposed to keep the laws, commandments, right?
Yeah.
To the right hand or to the left, to go after other gods to serve them. And you see, our people are in every religion.
Yeah.
On my mom's side, both of them on the East Coast in Jersey and stuff, they pretty much all Muslim.
Yeah.
So like, although they
My
wasn't,
people Muslim as hell,
man, and they not even from Arabia, but they sound just like an Arabian.
Yeah.
Because they so immersed in that, in those religions. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. It's saying other God to serve them, but I'm almost finished. "But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken, hear unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee." So we are what? A cursed nation. You know what I'm saying? So when you may hear so-called black people say, like, "Damn, it's like I'm cursed," I'm always catching it. like I'm nonstop getting my ass kicked. Well, that's very true because we disobeyed our God. You know, even in the scripture right here, you know, in the book of Deuteronomy 28, it goes to that we'll be, you know, sold and all of that.
Yeah.
You know, that's our history.
Yeah.
All right. So once again, for our disobedience.
You got a church, man. You don't be preaching or nothing, man.
Oh yeah, I'm always preaching out here, man. I'll be on the highways and hedges.
Okay.
We're free preaching. Now we don't have like no building, but I'm linked with brothers. You know, yeah.
Exactly.
Like, you know, like we got brothers all over. You know what I'm saying? We got brothers from Cali, brothers from, you know what I'm saying, all over UK, all of that. Yeah. I don't know if you got a phone on you.
Yeah, my phone.
Okay, yeah, I will give you the page so you can, you know, tap in. But you know, I'll be out here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be out here, man.
Thank you, man.
Hey, what's your name? Chris?
Yeah.
Hey, safe travel, brother. Yep. Yep. Hey, rock a thought to you, brother. Right. Hey, well, he kept his word, you know. He said that he gonna come back around. He did. All right, so let me grab this. Then we'll go ahead and close it out. Bear with me 1 second. Yep. Now I'm making a point as far as saying what the reward. Okay, so let me grab this, then I'm gonna close it out. This is Isaiah chapter 52. And let's start at verse 1. I'm gonna read on down to verse 8. Okay, as far as going to what, you know, as far as going to that reward. Okay, so tie it all together. So having this faith, right, being a believer, that comes with a great reward. So let me grab this in Isaiah 52. Start verse 1. And it reads, awake, awake, put on thy strength, O Zion. Put on thy beautiful garments, O Jerusalem. God damn. Fucking Esau, man. Awake, awake, put on thy strength, O Zion. Put on thy beautiful garments, O Jerusalem, the holy city. For henceforth there shall no more come unto thee the uncircumcised and the unclean. All right? Not going to be what? Around unbelievers anymore. And let me grab that. We say, put on thy beautiful garments, O Zion. That starts off with what? This wisdom and knowledge, right? The things that was promised to us, the law, the statutes, and commandments. So this comes to mind in the book of Ephesians, chapter 6. See if I can grab it. Make a quick point. It says, Ephesians 6 and verse 10, finally, my brethren, be strong in the outer one Yahweh and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of outer one Yahweh, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of outer one Yahweh, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and have it done all to stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness. All right. So this, you know, so this truth is like to what, you know, being clothed. Okay, just to sum it up. So this is Isaiah, back to Isaiah 52. Read a tad bit more. Shake thyself from the dust. And when you shake yourself from the dust, that's coming, you know, that's shaking yourself from a low state, right? From like being ignorant. O Jerusalem, lose thyself from the bands of thy neck, O captive daughter of Zion. O captive daughter of Zion, because ultimately, John 8 and 32, it starts off with what? The minds first. You know, shaking ourselves from being in mental bondage. All right, because when we in these different religions, as I was telling that Jake over there, is we are pretty much slaves, right, to these religions. Okay, we still are what? Captive. So John 8 and 32, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. And this starts off with what? The mind first, your spirit. Okay, so what? We are free. We're not, we're not in that low state anymore. As a matter of fact, brothers are rejoicing. Okay? Although, we signing crying, can't wait for Yahweh by Shema Shai, but we know that there is a great reward. The Most High not a man that he shall lie. If we continue to labor, there is a reward, as I'm getting into, through the Spirit. So Isaiah 52, hold on. Shake thyself from the dust, arise and sit down, O Jerusalem. Lose thyself from the bands of thy neck, O captive daughter of Zion. Okay? And that's exactly what the believers are doing right now. Okay? Start off with the mind first, John 8:32. Fuck out of here, man. Damn devils. For thus said the Yahweh, you have sold yourselves for naught, and you shall be redeemed without money. Okay? Because all of us has been what? Have gone astray from our power, man. Okay? For thus said the Adonai Yahweh, my people went down aforetime into Egypt to sojourn there, and the Assyrian oppressed them without cause. All right, and we see a lot of our people, Egypt today represents bondage, and a lot of our people are still trusting in the ways of Egypt today, meaning, Babylon the Great, meaning America, right? They still put their trust in America that is showing you to be, to get weaker and weaker. All right, and Assyria oppressed them without cause. And all of us are, and the whole nation of Israel has been oppressed. Jeremiah 50 and verse 33. But now, as I was telling that Jake over there, now we understand why we've been oppressed. Now we understand exactly what's going on, right? Now we can, defend ourselves. Not gonna start a race war or not gonna start some type of revolutionary act, as they say. But, ultimately stand upon our feet, condemning this damn devil to his face. The same way when you go to court and you got the lawyer and pretty much telling of the one who's guilty, and you got the judge and you explaining everything that he has done, all the laws he has broke. That's what we are doing right now. Okay, Jay, all around, right, all around the globe, pretty much is telling of all the atrocities that has taken place upon our nation by the hand of Esau Edom. Now therefore, what have I here, said the Yahweh, that my people is taken away for naught? They that rule over them make them to howl, said the Yahweh, and my name continually every day as blasphemed. I'm reading NLT. What is this? Asked the Yahweh. Why are my people enslaved again? Those who rule them shout in exaltation, my name is blasphemed all day long. All right, and these heathens are enjoying, having Jake up under them. But now we see how the tables is ultimately, turning. Now we see, the curses that's coming upon our enemies. Deuteronomy 30 and verse 7. Just driving here to camp. We saw, I saw, a couple of Edomites with signs saying, "Give me, $1 or something, $5, however much the money was on the sign." Okay, and this is your kingdom. All right. Therefore, my people shall know my name. Therefore, they shall know in that day that I am he that doth speak. Behold, it is I. How beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of him that bring good tidings, that publisheth peace, that bring good tidings of good, that publisheth salvation. This speaking about what the gospel. That say unto Zion, thy power reigneth. Thy watchmen shall lift up the voice, with the voice together shall they sing. Okay, and as I grabbed, earlier, Revelation 14, all right, singing what the new song. The watchmen is the men on the highway in Hedges, the street teachers, all right, telling you of why you in this predicament, telling you of what's to come, telling you of what's the next big prophecy, which is the charagma, right? Got race riots, okay, World War III, a nuclear war to end all wars. That's what a watchman's job is to do. Break forth into joy, saying together, you waste places of Jerusalem, For Yahweh had comforted his people. He had redeemed Jerusalem. And how have we been comforted? Let me grab this. Salaki. All right, ultimately, this word has comforted us. It's in a couple of places. Bear with me 1 second. Let's grab this in the book of Psalms 119, right? Psalm 119, verse 50. Whew. Yeah, verse 50 is the point. Psalm 119, start verse 47. And it reads, and I will delight myself in thy commandments, which I have loved. My hands also will I lift up unto thy commandments, which I have loved, and I will meditate in thy statutes. Go to that word meditate, mean think upon. Remember the word unto thy servant, upon which thou hast caused me to hope. All right, so we hope, okay, in Yahweh Shem Al-Shah. So when we read these scriptures, we have hope that all things that the Most High has said is going to happen in its due time. Remember the word unto thy servant, upon which thou hast caused me to hope. This is my comfort in my affliction, for thy word have quickened me. When we go to that word quicken, means what? Being revived. So this word is what ultimately what comfort us. Okay? This is what, pretty much, gave us a healing, man. Right? So Psalms 52 in verse 9, once again, break forth into joy, saying together, you waste places of Jerusalem, for the Yahweh had comforted his people. He had redeemed Jerusalem. Okay? The Yahweh had made bare his holy arm in the eyes of all the nations. And all the ends of the earth shall see the salvation of our power. And they will see the great redemption. All right? They will see the salvation. We go to the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5. Okay? So those chariots, what they call UAPs, UFOs, those are the vehicles. That's what is going to take, that's what is going to take, Jake's, the elect, and deliver them. Okay? Depart you, go you out from thence, touch no unclean thing, go you out of the midst of her, be you clean that bear the vessels of the Yahweh. And that touch not that unclean thing, all right, ultimately is meaning what? Having nothing to do with what, the philosophies of this world, which the elect would not be doing. Okay? Let's read in the NLT, then I'm going to get back to, Isaiah 52 and verse 11. Get out, and leave your captivity, where everything you touch is unclean. Everything here is unclean. Okay? The philosophies, the way of the world, everything about, this place is unclean. That's why it said what the fashion of this world shall pass away. Okay, it's all a verse to the ways of Yahweh Bashim Al-Shad. Where everything you touch is unclean, get out of there and purify yourselves, you will carry home the sacred objects of the Yahweh. All right, and the way that you're being purified is by what? The word. The word is ultimately what cleanses you. So let me grab this, and I'm gonna close it. Okay, so what's cleansing us? It's the word, man. Ephesians 5 and verse 26, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word. In the NLT, to make her holy and clean, washed by the cleansing of outer one Yahweh's word. Right? So that's ultimately is what, is cleansing us. Okay? I'm gonna grab this one more so I can find it. If I can't, it's all good. Yep. Joel chapter 3 and verse 20 and verse 21. But Judah shall dwell forever, and Jerusalem from generation to generation, being about the nation of Israel. For I will cleanse their blood that I have not cleansed For the Yahweh dwelleth in Zion. All right, and that's ultimately going by what? Once again, this word is ultimately what cleanses us. Okay. So now we have hope. Coming back to acknowledgement of who we are. All right, which ultimately only can happen by the Yahweh Shai giving what the Holy Spirit. Okay, which is the spirit of what discernment to know what's going on. All right, so I'm gonna end it there. Hey, shalom to all you Malakim, and it there I'm gonna face the east, and I'm gonna give all praises and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Raha, Hordash. Honors be to the elect elders of the nation of Israel that do labor and teach the truth with all truth and in sincerity. Shalom to you, Akim, you hope for elect on the highway and hedges, making your body a living sacrifice, according to Romans 12 and verse 1. Shalom to sincere believers, which consist of men and women. Shalom, Brakatham, and Abba Babal, DTA. Death to America. Been 1-7, salute you brothers. Yep. Hey, so shalom to the brother Kabasha Nah. Shalom to the big bro Ariel. Shalom Malakium. Brakatham to you and your household. Shalom to Wab Layla. Shalom.